Now, this slide was already shared to you in Canvas. So it was really shared as a PowerPoint slide. That way you can view the inserted video that was not able to show to you last meeting. So for today, we'll discuss the three essential topics of idea generation, idea selection, and decision making. Now, in idea presentation, I also shared with you the document file of this, so you'll be able to read what are the different manners of presenting the idea to a would-be customer, and even to the panel if you are if we talk about a corporation in which you are trying to decide on a particular uh, product or service that you're going to introduce into the market, how well are you going to present your idea? That way it will appear something that would struck the interest of the listener or the would-be buyers. Okay, that they would be interested in what you're going to present to them. So I have here pictures. You tell me what these particular pictures mean in terms of idea presentations. It's not just that you have your idea, but it's actually the total package that you're going to present your idea very well. That way it will become saleable, or shall we say marketable. Okay, so I'll go to the next slide. I have here the different ways. So there are actually 10 different manners of presenting the idea. Now, I'd like to check, I'll have to check this one first. What do you think is this manner of presenting the idea? Okay, Katrina, musical. Okay, wait lang. I'm going to check the part that you're going to guess the idea. Okay, so this one. What about this? What do you think is this manner of presenting the idea? Have a child there in front of an elderly person. What do you think is this child doing? So when you were small, have you experienced this one? Storytelling. Correct. We love our lolos, and if you have your if you still were able to be born in this world with your lolos and your lolas, then we love to sit around them and listen to their stories about anything under the sun, their experiences. So the same thing with presenting our ideas in a, shall I say, in a manner which we're in, it will spark the interest of the listener. So we can tell stories about it and how you came about of your idea, or you can even tell stories about a selected group in which you have, shall I say, gave your product a trial run and let them tell their story on or how well are their experiences or what's their experience about the product. That way, the would-be customers will be interested in what makes it different, or why would this particular set of customers continue to love using your product or continue to avail of your services. So that's one thing. So storytelling. Now, Katrina was saying about this a while ago. So what about this one? Okay, the second one that you see. What is this particular way of presenting the idea? It's through the use of music. Now, if you have noticed in advertisements in TVs, so in the television and even in the radio, there is this use of the jingles. Then I don't know if we still have it now, but then during my time, they would have songs just particularly to introduce a particular product in the market. And these songs and these tunes will be sung by famous singer or celebrity. So that in a way will be a big come on to the would-be buyer or to the target market. The use of a striking tune or a tune that is easily remembered or recalled. Okay, the use of tune or music in the presentation of the idea. What about this one? The left in the yellow circle or in the gold circle, what do you think is this? The use of video. Okay, correct. The use of the video. So the video should have, of course, audio. So both. So there should be animation and there should be shall I say, musical score to that particular animation. So the video, the complete video is also, shall I say, especially to the visuals. So they are really a great come onto the visuals, especially if there are a mix of tunes, a mix of video graphics. Now a lot of available actually material in the net that are free in terms of video graphics, so the listeners will really be interested to listen, and it will not make them bored listening, especially if it's too long. If there's a play of graphics, if there's a play of tunes that are in transition as you present what it is that you are presenting. Okay, so that's it for the first three. Now we go to the next, on the next slide. What about this one? Sorry. The orange, in the orange ball. The presentation in here would start or be, shall I say, the platform used to initially present the idea is in the form of A. What do you think is it? In the form of question. Correct. So questioning. Another way of presenting the idea is in the manner of questioning. What is it that you would really want in your current cell phone to be an added feature? What is it in the current coffee? Question, yes, Mika. What is it in your current coffee, the coffee that you are now enjoying? What is it that you would want to improve in it? And so on and so forth. So from that, that's where the marketer or the advertiser or the idea presenter will build up the idea that he wants to present. What is it in your in your earphones that you would want to eliminate? I don't want the strings. I don't want it stringless, or I don't want it attached to my laptop. I don't want it attached to my cell phone. So I want it Bluetooth. I want it something like this. So now the presenter will present his or her product or his or her idea. Those are just samples. So they would use a series of questions that will be used as a platform in presenting their idea to their customer or to the corporate board if it's still being presented in the corporate board and it is still to be decided. So just one of those many ways of presenting the idea. What do you think about this one? I don't know if you will get it from my illustration, but what do you think is being used in here? The one in the yellow ball. Let's see. Art or drawing? Correct. So related to art and the drawing would be, related to the art and the drawing would be the use of, this is how actually you are instructed then, or this is how we are suggested to make our PowerPoint presentations. That way, the listener or the one that is viewing your presentation will not get bored of having to read a lot of lines in your presentation. What is it that is being encouraged to use, and that from that the speaker will just simply expound or ask the audience or the listeners for ideas regarding the one that is being used. Correct. The use of photos, images, or pictures. So you can start with a series of pictures. Okay, and then you can ask your listeners what is common about the pictures that they have seen, that I have shown to you. What do you think is unique about this picture from the rest that I have shown to you, or something like that? So you use pictures. You don't present ideas in the form of PowerPoint slides wherein your listeners will have to read the paragraphs that you have placed in there, or worst, if you will be also reading from the paragraphs that you have placed on that, your listener will be bored, and they would rather tell themselves that I can read that on my own later. Anyway, she is just reading it. Why not read it later when I have the spare time already? Rather than give pictures or photos and images, and from there try to extract ideas from your listener. That way they will be engaged, and they would be, of course, shall I say, they would be encouraged to ask questions also based on the pictures or the photos. What about this one? This one is more on the corporate setting. So especially if they need to decide on something and the idea is presented, What do you think is this form of presenting the idea in here? This is quite boring if you're going to ask me. This is my just my personal opinion. This is quite boring in my case. In my case, because I'm not a corporate type of person. I don't want to sit and listen to something that I find, shall I say, too much of a time being spent on it. So what do you think is this type of idea presentation? Correct? So this could be in a form of a meeting, or in the case of, shall I say, very important decisions that need to be decided not just by one or two, but a lot of people, especially in the corporation. This is in the case of immersion. Presenting the idea to a group of people who are immersed into that particular immersed in the presentation of the idea, not just for a morning but the entire day. They are there to listen to your idea. They brainstorm together with you on how to polish your presented idea. They have questions, and they also get engaged with you as you present your idea. So that is immersion. The purpose actually of immersion is not just having to win your audience approval of what it is that you are presenting to them, but also getting their very important inputs. Because anyway, if they would be your customers, they would most likely be able to see a thing or two that you have missed in the, shall I say, in the innovation, in the technology that you're trying to present to them, or that you may have missed something that is very important that one of them have seen, and that would be also brought to your attention. And that's one way of polishing the idea before it's even brought into the market. So immersive type of idea presentation. Now, for those that are not into sitting in the office for the entire day, drinking coffee and having to listen to somebody and ask questions, this is not really something that is a common to them. Okay, now we go to the last slide, the last four. Okay, let's start with the left here, the yellow ball on the left. What do you think is this manner of idea presentation? How to? What do you think is being used in here? The how to. One only. Demonstrative. Correct. So the exact word actually. So this is a manner of presentation that uses demonstration. So this is actually being used in terms of like it, things that are being used at home, or let's say you have a vacuum cleaner that is new in the market. What makes it different than the one that is existing? Or again, we go back to the gadgets, the cell phones. What makes this cell phone superior over the rest that are already in the market? Something like that. So it demonstrates to the would-be market or customer how is this particular product, or how is this particular service so different and unique that the would-be customers would be enticed to buy or avail of it. So if it's a service, avail of it. So how to, meaning it's a demonstrative way of presenting the idea. Now, what about this one? I think this is very easy to guess. What do you think is being used in here in the idea presentation? I have mask, smiling mask. What do you think? A type of idea presentation. Art, drama. So I used the wrong illustration to elicit the correct answer. What else? Humor. Correct. Tumpak Giselle. Humor. So in here, oftentimes sa mga advertisements, if they want to ingest a product or service which is easily remembered by the customer, they would use comedians, funny people to present it, to present the idea or to market the idea. So the use of humor or funny tactics or questions that are funny. But in this case, class, if questions that are funny are being used, the one that is giving the questions or giving out the questions should be very careful that it will not be downright offensive to the group that he is asking the question to, or probably that particular group or that particular person is already biased on something, and you're going to ask that particular funny joke. So instead of winning that person over, you will not win him over or her over. He will not even all the more buy or even mark like elicit also would-be customers or friends, her friends, or peers to avail of your product or service. Now, this is common now. Idea presentation. What do you think is being used in this idea presentation? The one on the fuchsia board. No idea? What type of idea presentation is that? Okay, let me check. Prototyping. Props. Props, prototyping. What else? The prototype is more is very near to it. So a prototype is a sample of a what? Everybody, what's a prototype? It's a sample. The one that you see here. What is this? A prototype, and it's what? In what? It's in, see, 3D. Correct. Colin. So 3D, the use of the prototypes which are already three-dimensional. If you don't have the actual, so syempre, if this an example is in the case of real estate. So if they would like to present a would-be in the case of there's just the rapid rise of real estate here, areas in Bacolod now. So if they want to present what would be, what would that area look like after everything is already erected, so they would use this one, the 3D, or they will use the 3D animation if they don't have the prototype or they don't have more or less a model, a 3D model of their subdivision or their commercial complex. So they will use the animation. But this time, not just the 2D animation, but the 3D animation. And it's being really used right now, especially in the case of ng selling products that would be a come on to your generation, especially the millennials. So they would rather have it not just in 2D, but 3D animation. Now, the last one was actually mentioned already. What do you think is this? The one in the light blue. This one is this was already mentioned when I asked the question, the use of. But this is already class ano. If you're going to ask me, this is quite obsolete. The one in the blue circle, this one is quite obsolete for me. So they'd rather go to visuals, animation, with audio, with good graphics, 3D. What do you think is this? This is already obsolete. You take it from that. So presenting something using what? Maybe for some, it may not be as obsolete if there's a different way of introducing it first. What do you think? Starts with letter, the use of visual aids or the use of props. Correct, Sabi May and Jobber. So the use of visual aids or props incorporates their corporations, especially if they have meetings and they need to decide on something. They use visual aids or props, or they will have a graphic artist first present a sketch of the would-be packaging, for example, of a product, and then present it to the board. What do you think of this? So if the board agrees, then go. It goes into the market with a new packaging. If that particular product is already out and needs only a new or a facelift or a new packaging for the customer to continuously buy it. Okay, or for the would-be customers to be encouraged to try it if they haven't bought it. Okay, so these are just 10 of the suggested way of presenting the idea. That way, your idea will be scalable or getting a large shall I say, a large part of the market. Okay. Now we go to idea selection. When you generate ideas, there would be a lot of ideas. Sorry, I will have to clear the markings. There would be a lot of ideas that will be coming into your mind, especially if you already have talked to the market, especially in the form of survey, what it is that they really want to, what is the innovation that they want, what they want to be improved in the product or service. So you already have this survey before. And from this survey, you already have several ideas in your mind. Or let's say if you're a group, you already have several ideas in your mind on what would be the probable solutions or what would be the probable modifications or innovations that you will apply in your existing product or service. That way, your customers will continually love it, or the other customers that haven't bought it will try to use it. So how do you then, or what is then the process of selecting idea out of the many ideas that are being generated? It is actually a three-step process here. So we have the rough selection followed by the fine selection, and then we had the detailed analysis. Now in the rough selection class, we have the, shall I say, I like to call it the categorization of the idea. We categorize idea as idea A, idea B, and idea C. Now, I think you can guess already what is A. So in terms of the hierarchy of which idea is most likely to be thought over and over again, that would be the A. Most likely that would be the set of ideas. Let's say you have 20 ideas, and probably that those 20 ideas, you would like to come up with the best 3 ideas that you have. So the best 3 would be on A. Then with the B, there's still among you, let's say there's 10 of you are going to decide on what particular idea you will come up with. You cannot agree, let's say in the B, what is the good side and the bad side in that particular idea. You don't have a common ground to meet. So you classify ideas as B ideas if you don't have a commonality, especially if you're a group who's going to decide about it. Actually, it's always a group that is deciding about a particular idea. Now, in the C, shall we say, ang siguro, yati kung sa grade pa, hindi gid siya yakapasar. So, it's a no-no. The C is not, because majority does not really agree that we won't not adapt that one. We will not even waste more than 10 minutes thinking whether that idea we will push through or not. So, it's just a battle between the A and the B. So, but more likely, you will get your data, or you will get the idea that will go through the fine selection process as the A ideas. So the first 3 probably that you have thought of that would answer the needs of your market, or that will present something new to the market that the customer haven't thought of in the first place, but with something that would really be some beautiful, acceptable for them. Oh, why haven't we thought about it in the first place? So it was you who generated the idea, and the customer has no idea about it in the first place, but it could be done. We could do something about this idea and place it in our existing product and service. So that's something you do. The first 3 that you have placed on the A bracket, you will go through the fine selection process. So in the fine selection process, this is where you have to go through the details of, will the idea be not compromising the standards that our company is preserving for the past, let's say, 2 decades already? Will the idea be good not only for bracket A in the market, but also be good for bracket B and C? So the 3 ideas that you have will go through this fine selection of things. So there are questions that you will generate also you yourselves. That way you will come up from the 3 the best idea that you will, or the best innovation, the best modification of your product and service in the market after it has gone through the fine selection process. So fine selection process, from the 3, you have now the 1. And for that the one idea that everybody agrees to be thought of in detail, that will go through the detailed analysis. Of course, we'll go through the detailed analysis. So how to present the idea in the market, what would be the needed initial expenditure for that particular innovation, what would be the ROI of that particular innovation, will it be affordable for all sectors, will it not be only be something good only for the A's, but actually class, it really depends on the it depends on the product or services rather. May ara gid nga mga produkto nga pag visualize na sang corporation, sang company, ang gusto lang gid nila nga target market ya A market. And when we say A market, amo na siya ang gusto gid sang mahalalo. Kay miski isa lang ang ibaligya nila, okay na sila, miski perte ka mahal. Pero kung ang target audience nila, ang audience niya nga gusto sang mahal, kay it's a it it's a it's a status it's a status symbol. It tells of where you are in society already. So it really depends the on the market that you want to target. As much as possible, if it's a commodity, they want everybody. It's affordable to everybody. But there are really like things, like gadgets, like services that were really designed for the A's, for the affluents. And there are really those that are designed for all ABCs or simply only for the C's, something like that. So it really depends actually on the target market in which the idea or services is to be presented. So it doesn't have to be nga, is din-discuss mo man, basta breakthrough, dapat hindi lang sa selected na sector, dapat affordable siya sa tanan. So depende ya kung ano ang idea or service na dapat i-introduce sa market. E may ara gid nga service na, as I've said already, gusto nila ya A lang din or gusto nila ya C lang. Kaya kung A, pila lang man na sila kabilog. It depends really on the product and service. So in the selection of the best idea, it has to come through this three-step process. Now you can read more on the details of especially on the detailed analysis and in the fine selection in your Canvas, because there's a document that you can read that explains this in detail, okay, as to this three-step process. Now we go to the last part of this module, which is the decision making. So part of the selection of the idea, the last part is in the decision making. Actually, the topic 4 in the idea selection and this topic 5, which is decision making, they go hand in hand. So what's the process that the decision makers have to use, go through, that way they can come up with the best decision. So we have here the 5-step decision-making process. So of course, there has to be the problem or the need recognition. So in the idea selection, I mentioned a while ago that before they create ideas and select from those ideas, they first have to know what the market wants. Or better yet, they have identified the market that they want to serve. It could be something like that. So this is really top of the list. There has to be the identification of the problem or the need. Then of course, after that, you already identify the problem or the need, you go to research the information that is needed. These are the problems. What are the information that I need in relation to this problem? So you need market researchers, analysts in this particular step in here. Now, based on that, you have to evaluate now the alternatives. That is where the alternatives, the ideas, is in the selection of the ideas. You evaluate the alternatives that you have also created. Then you select the alternatives from the ideas you select. Then after that, after you have decided, it does not end there. Because every product, if you notice, if it's not the product that they change, it is the packaging of the product that they change, or they add something to the product to add value to it, more value to it. So in the final selection, even if the product is already out in the market, and even if it is already well received by the market, it still has to go through the evaluation. All markets go through this. They have market researchers that checks how the idea, the product or the service being received by the greater public. They have surveys being done. These survey companies are actually even paid billions by these companies also to do this market research, because they want to continually evaluate and improve their service or product. That way, it will not lose its market grip. If not, if they become complacent, they will just be surprised that after dominating the market for so like 30, 50 years already, they will just be surprised one day they wake up, their product is not known anymore. But that seldom happens. Why? Because they know already, everybody knows already in the business part that there has to be evaluation of the existing. That way it keeps on improving. Even if we're not going to apply this on the business side, even on simply on how we do things, we always evaluate on how we do things, what we can improve, what we can loosen up a bit, the way we do things. That way, we just don't only achieve our objectives, but of course we keep ourselves sane, or we keep ourselves physically well or mentally well. So, ano na siya nga gina-evaluate ka. So, even companies do that to their employees, not just na maubra lang sa produkto, kag ma-make lang money, but they have to also do evaluation. That's shall I say, the job of the HR. They evaluate how their employees are doing. Are you still breathing? Can you still wake up in the morning feeling good that this is a new day, this is a good day? So everything, all processes, when we speak of processes, are being evaluated. Even us as engineers, all the processes that we do in the industry, whether it's production, whether it's dealing with people, all the processes on how we go through mga submissions and all of those things, they are being evaluated. Why? It's always for that improvement. So more so for products and services that are out in the market, they need to be evaluated continuously. So the evaluation rather is something perpetual. As long as the company exists and as long as the product is still well received, evaluation goes on. Okay, so read more on this in the document file. It's a Word file that I have shared in Canvas. That way you will be illuminated more on these things related to innovation. Why we innovate? Because we want to improve how things are being done. We improve the processes on how things are being produced, or we improve the processes on how we deliver our services. So when we are to be technopreneurs, dapat hand in hand din sila sang innovation. So hindi pwede mag-exist ang technopreneur kung wala ang innovation. So we create possibilities because of this. Okay, possibilities of course, the end goal always is to have a better life or to enjoy life more. Okay, now I'll stop sharing here.